Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I've got a guide for you on the Archer tank in Battlefield 5. This is the latest, the newest tank that has been added to the game, and it certainly lives up to its name. It was unlockable in the Tides of War progression system, and if you missed that, you should be able to buy it with company coin now from the main menu. Now, this tank is for the British faction only, and it actually looks very similar to the British medium tank. That's because it's built on the same Valentine chassis as the medium tank. However, it doesn't have a top-mounted turret, so it doesn't have to worry about the turret weak point, but it also means that the entire body of the tank will need to turn around to engage enemies. This can make it somewhat vulnerable to flanks, especially infantry flanks. It does have a rear-mounted machine gunner position, but it's not the most valuable spot on the tank, and any gunner's going to get very bored sitting back there waiting for a flank. So you can potentially switch to that position if you know somebody is sneaking up behind you, but that circumstance probably won't come up too frequently. As the main operator of the Archer, you have access to not only your main cannon with considerable splash damage and range and good ability against other tanks, but you also have a backup machine gun, which is pretty effective against infantry. So you can be sort of a one-man army just taking out tanks and infantry alike. Compared to the Stug, which is sort of the German equivalent of this tank, the Stug requires a secondary gunner to operate the machine gun and deal with infantry threats in that same manner. So as a solo tank, the Archer is without question better than the Stug. The Stug just needs a little bit more teamwork to achieve the same versatility. Now, I'd like to call the Archer a glass cannon in that it's very weak armor-wise and has incredible damage and range, but it's actually got decent armor. So it's got a very, very good long-range cannon, excellent for tank sniping and fighting other tanks, and it's got medium level armor without the turret weak point. So it's pretty good at engaging medium tanks and light tanks when exchanging fire one-on-one. When going up against heavy tanks like a Tiger tank, well, you're going to want to get at least the first shot off and use your faster mobility to get in and out of battle quickly, because the Tiger tank can exchange blows with you and it will take you out at range if you're both showing your front armor. If you can get up behind a Tiger tank and get some rear shots on it, then that's a different story, but for the most part, that probably won't happen with the Archer tank on most game modes. Now, when specializing the Archer tank, I recommend this progression tree, increased ammo, improved loading mechanism, then we have maintenance drills, and finally we have the armor-piercing rounds. Going this route while ranking up the tank and even at the end is, in my opinion, the best way to go. Gives you that extra ammo, increasing your maximum ammo capacity from 30 to 40, giving you plenty of rounds to engage and even go to remote areas and engage tanks from range and not have to worry about your ammo too often. Improved loading speaks for itself. Shoot faster, who wouldn't want that? Maintenance drills will be good when this tank gets fixed. Maintenance drills allow you to repair faster, so this should repair damaged elements of your tank. Like if you get a tread disabled, you'll be able to escape faster once you do a very quick repair. The problem, of course, is that the treads are bugged right now. So if your treads get disabled in combat, they're going to stay disabled even if you get to a supply depot and fully rep up, or you have a support repair you all the way. They will be disabled permanently until that tank is destroyed and you spawn a new tank. So that really sucks. They need to fix that bug because it is a major hindrance to the overall balance of the Archer at the moment. And then finally, armor-piercing rounds are somewhat self-explanatory, but they're very good and take this tank from a decent tank sniper to god-tier tank sniper, allowing you to just absolutely obliterate tanks at extreme ranges with very, very high piercing damage. They also give you more rounds overall, so you have quite a few base rounds, and then in addition to that, you have extra armor-piercing rounds. You do have to preemptively load these when planning on engaging tanks. Anticipating what kind of enemy you're going to go up against can really help. So if you're just driving around in a very long-range open environment, say on Panzerstorm, it might make sense just to have the armor-piercing rounds loaded, and then if you need some splash, you can switch back to your main damage type rounds, but AP rounds will be the best way to lead off most tank fights as they do increase damage. Now, despite your turret being stuck in the forward facing position, it doesn't mean that this tank can't be somewhat agile. It's actually got decent speed. The left side progression tree will make you a faster tank overall, which could be an interesting thing to play around with once DICE fixes the tread repairing bug. Seeing how just agile you could be with this tank. You can see a light tank got up completely behind me, got a rear shot on me, and I'm still able to turn around completely, engage this light tank, and take him out before he can take me out. This thing shreds light tanks, and I love going up against them just because of that. They think they often have the advantage on you, and then you're just like, hey, guess what? I got decent armor and an incredibly powerful cannon. Now that we're seeing a little bit more of the linear style game modes like Rush and Breakthrough, tanks without fully rotating turrets are far more viable in these modes, as you don't have to overly commit, get in too close, and in fact, most tanks seem to do pretty darn well at extreme ranges. I actually think this is an unfortunate byproduct of just kind of different balancing and not the best balancing between infantry and tank combat. Most tankers feel very weak in close quarters, like they can't commit and get too close. And so what happens is people have to keep their distance, stay as far away as possible. The good part about this for the archer is that the archer is designed for this specifically. It's got incredible range, a powerful cannon, a good machine gun that can actually drop infantry at medium to long range distances pretty consistently. And so the archer is perfect for that. And you just turn the front of your tank towards whatever you're fighting. It's got great front armor and you're good to go. If you're in a very chaotic environment where you need to turn around quickly and engage in all directions, then the archer is not the tank for you. But if you pick it for the right game mode, then it is incredible. Even when engaging infantry, its primary cannon with 40 rounds and great splash damage is absolutely excellent for destroying buildings and causing massive splash damage. Now, of course, the archer tank's biggest competition is not the Stug 4. In fact, it's actually the Churchill gun carrier, because you can spawn in this tank on the British side. You have no spawn restrictions between the archer or the gun carrier, and the gun carrier just has more armor to it. It's a much slower tank, generally speaking. The way I have it configured, it doesn't have anywhere near as much ammo, but it's a better tank for just going one-on-one tank battles. It can't stand the fight as much, though. It has to retreat and get that ammo and resupply elsewhere more frequently. But I like the archer because it can commit for a long period of time. I don't feel like I have to constantly go back and maintain and stay on top of my ammo game. The archer can bring those 40 rounds into battle, plus its armor-piercing rounds, and stay there for a long period of time, plus all of its machine gun ammo, and absolutely chew through the enemy, which makes it excellent for farming kills and objective-oriented game modes where you really have to suppress infantry and enemy for a long period of time. If you're going up exclusively against infantry targets, then perhaps the archer tank is not the best. But again, on a map where we're playing like Aerodrome here, where there isn't a lot of crazy terrain to have to worry about, and you can usually just post up and shoot in one direction for a very long period of time, then the archer tank is absolutely excellent. Here you can see another example of those armor-piercing rounds just shredding through the medium armor on this Panzer IV tank on the Germans. I'm taking infantry fire and stuff, but I've got my front facing the enemy, and I can tank the damage, absolutely destroy the medium tank, and then go to town on the remaining infantry. It's an excellent tank when you're in a choke-pointed environment. Outside of that, if you're a good driver, you can potentially deal with those threats, but the flanks are your biggest weakness in this tank, and so fast-moving infantry, fast-moving vehicles that can get in and around behind you, that's what's going to take you out. Overall, I highly recommend the archer tank. It'll be significantly better once they fix the tread damage problem with the tank. It's going to be hard to argue for any other progression tree other than the faster reload and the increased ammo and the armor-piercing rounds. It really just makes this tank excel in a very specific environment. Although if you're playing, say, on a big open conquest map on, say, Panzerstorm, maybe you'd like having the faster top speed that you can get with the left side progression tree, allowing you to get around the map faster, retreat quicker if needed. It could be an interesting way of playing this tank, and playing around with that progression tree. But for linear format game modes, having the extra ammo I felt was far more useful for just absolutely obliterating the enemy. Anyway, guys, try out the Archer tank for yourself. I hope you found this guide useful, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield. This is Level Cap, signing off.